Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Deva Sarvakatyeshu Sarvada. Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Parampadam Asmad Gurubhyo Namaha. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah.
Guruji, how are you muted? Muted. Muted. You are muted.
I am unmuted now. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Om Satchidananda Rupaya Krishnaya Krishna Karine Namo Vedanta Vedyaya Gurave Buddhi Sakshine Krishna Dvaipaya Vyasam Sarvalokahite Ratam Vedabja Bhaskaram Vande Samadhi Nilayam Munim Sahasramurte Purushottamasya Sahasranetranana Pada Bhaho Sahasranamam Stavanam Prashastam Niruchyate Janma Jaradi Shanti. Om. So, namaste once again, everyone.
Namaskaram, Mama.
Namaste.
Namaste. So, let me first congratulate all of you. Today's class is the 100th Vishnu Sahasranamam class. We have hit a century. So, we are all become marathon runners now. So, it's a very great thing. I mean, to sustain 100 classes of Vishnu Sahasranamam is not a very easy feat. So, you all deserve congratulations who have been able to sustain till this almost 2 years of Vishnu Sahasranamam. My humble request, please mute yourself because I am still getting some disturbance of somebody unmuted. So that I just wanted to compliment all of you on that achievement. So now we'll go to the sloka that we have been seeing. Anur Brihakrisastulo Gunabhir Nirguno Mahan Adrdaswadrdaswasya Pragvamsho Vamshavardhana. So this is a sloka which is talking about the Swarupa of Ishvara. The Satchidananda Swarupa, the Brahman aspect of Ishvara. And this idea is straight away lifted from the Upanishads. Because Brahman, as I've been telling you, is not an object for us to perceive, for us to understand, for us to relate to. Brahman is the very subject I. How will you define I? When I tell you who are you, do you say I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am not my sense organs, I am not my buddhi? Then when I ask you what are you, you don't have an answer. Because the real you, the true you, we have never experienced because we are the very very I. I am the very I. I am the Swarupa of I is I. And that the Upanishads try to convey through various words in order to make us understand. What is this Brahman? What is this self? Atma. What is this Atma? And Upanishads use so many words, trying its best to tell us, to make us understand something which we can never see, which we can never experience. And the same idea is borrowed in this sloka. We saw two namas, Anuhu, Brihat. Anuhu means small, smallest of the smallest. Brihat means biggest of the biggest. So what is this Bhagavan? What is Ishvara? What is his Swarupa? If you ask, we say it's like Anu. Is Bhagavan is smallest of the smallest. Then we will start imagining, oh, smallest of the smallest means what? See, even an atom we can perceive only through some, what is that, microscope, electronic microscope and all. So if we have actually perceived an atom to be a very small, what I should say, entity, then smaller than that atom is Bhagavan. This much understanding will come. So again, when you have that understanding, the problem is you are objectifying. So immediately the Upanishad says and Vishnu Sahasranamam says, Brihat. No, don't understand the smallest of the smallest, is biggest of the biggest also. Just opposite. Then how will you understand? We have to understand Bhagavan is that, Brahman is that, Atma is that, which is smallest of the smallest, at the same time biggest of the biggest. Now you start visualizing what can be smallest of the smallest, bigger and bigger than the biggest. You cannot visualize any entity which falls within your range of experience. Then the next Nama it says, Krisha. Oh, he is smallest of the smallest and bigger than the biggest means, could Bhagavan be a thin person? The Shastra says, yes, okay. Bhagavan is a thin person. Krisha, the one who is thin. Astulam ityadina dravyatva pratishedhat Krisha. Oh, okay, now I understand. Smallest of the smallest, smaller than the smallest and bigger than the biggest means he is thin. Immediately says, no, wait, he is Thula, the one who is gross. Stula iti upacharyate sarvatmatvat. So these two namas, Krisha and Stula, and in fact, along with that, even Anuhu and Brihat, all these four namas go together in trying to describe and make us understand what this Brahman is. What can be seen or objectified, that alone can be talked of as big, small, thin and thick, etc. But the Swarupa of Bhagavan is pointed out in the Upanishad as what? Astulam, Ananu, Ahrasvam, Adhirgham. Vrihadaranyaka Upanishad describes Bhagavan in these words. Describe the Atma, Brahman in these words. Astulam, not gross. Ananu, not small. Ahrasvam, not short. Adhirgham, not tall. Therefore, the word Krisha, which is there in this Nama, means emaciated or small. That is used to show that he is not gross. Where the word Sthula means fat and gross. And after Krisha, immediately the word Sthula is used to show that if you have got any understanding that Bhagavan is small, that is not the correct understanding. Why? Because Bhagavan is fat and gross. This is said to show that he is not small and thin. So, basically, what we have to understand when we are trying to discover Bhagavan, discover Ishvara, Ishvara or Bhagavan has no size. Then what about the small and big things that we see? They are all Bhagavan. When we say Sarva Vyapi, pervades everything, whether it is small, big, he pervades everything. Either you can say he is everything or he is nothing. He does not have a form. So we cannot describe him as small, big, etc. because all these are all forms. Or we can say every form is his form. So he's in the form of all small, emaciated things. He is Krisha in the form of fat, gross things. He is Stula. But from his own standpoint, he is neither Krisha nor Stula, na Anu, and na na Brihat, na Krisha, na Anuhu, and na Stula. So this is how we must, in fact, we cannot visualize Bhagavan at all. That is why it is said, Bhagavan, Ishvara, Brahman is not a matter of, or is not an entity which is to be experienced. It is only to be understood. We just have to understand Bhagavan as this. Everything is Bhagavan. Every form is Bhagavan. Or you can say Bhagavan has no form at all. Because ultimately, he manifests through every form. The form may remain or not remain. Every form which is there will at some point in time get destroyed. Whereas Bhagavan, who manifests in every form, will always remain. That is how we have to understand this four namas. Then there is one more aspect being touched upon in the next nama, Guna Brid. Guna Brid means the locus of all qualities, all gunas. Sattva, Rajas, Tamasam, Srishti, Sthiti, Laya Karmasu, Adhishtatritvat, Guna Brid. Adi Shankara very beautifully puts it. He is Guna Brid. Guna Brid means what? Adhisthana, the locus of all gunas. He himself does not have any gunas, but he is the locus on which all gunas are, all qualities are sustained. Even though Bhagavan sustains all the gunas, what are the type of gunas we are talking about? Rajas, Tamas, and Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, three gunas. Maya, he sustains the entire Maya. Maya borrows its existence from Ishvara, from Brahman only. But Brahman himself or itself is not a guni. It's not a possessor of the gunas. It's only the adhishtanam of the gunas. And Puja Swamiji explained this very nicely. Whenever we say potness is a quality. It's an attribute of a particular shape and name and form, which we call a pot. What is the quality of a pot? Potness is the quality of a pot. Does potness belong to the pot? The answer is it appears to belong to the pot, but actually potness cannot belong to the pot because if you analyze, there is no pot at all. Pot is nothing but a manifestation of clay. Clay manifests in a certain form and we give it a name pot, and potness is the name given to that pot, or it's a quality or attribute of that pot. Therefore, what we have to say, in reality, potness belongs to clay, but clay is not a pot. So then what will happen? Logically, if we say partners belong to the clay, that means what? Wherever there is clay, the clay should be with partners. So the clay cannot have any other attribute other than partners. But we don't find that to be so, because clay can manifest in many forms, or it can just be a lump of clay. So even though the clay does not possess the attribute of partners, still this partners, the quality of partners, we have to attribute to the clay only, because the partners cannot else exist anywhere other than the clay. Therefore, we say, actually, partners does not belong to clay. Clay is the adhisthana, the locus for the pot which was created, and the locus for this incidental attribute is called partners. Partners is only name and form. It's an apparent attribute. Actually speaking, you cannot limit the attribute of clay to partners. If you say clay is partners, somebody else will say, no, clay is also plateness. Clay is cupness. You make a spoon out of clay, it is spoonness. So many attributes clay will have. The fact is that clay has no attributes. It's all attributes we superimpose upon clay by saying partness, plateness, etc. Similarly, here also, Brahman or Atma, or we have been calling it Ishvara, has no attribute of its own, but every attribute of all things that Ishvara manifests as, we can say is Ishvara's attribute. And that is why here, Bhagavan Vishnu's nama, all these namas are Krisha hai, Stula hai, all these namas are being attributed to Bhagavan. So similarly, Brahman lends his being to all attributes, since Brahman is the locus adhishthanam for all attributes. And Adi Shankara says, with reference to Srishti, Sthiti, Laya also, creation, sustenance and resolution of the universe also, Bhagavan as though assumes the gunas of Rajas, Sattva and Tamas respectively and presides over them, and hence he is Gunabhrid. That is the very beautiful nama. In fact, this sloka, full Vedanta sloka, based upon Upanishads only, talking about the Swarupa of Ishvara, Swarupa of Bhagavan, which is Brahman, Satchidananda Atma. Then the next one is Nirguna. Just now you said Gunabhrid. Now you say Nirguna. Again, that contradiction. That is why you have to understand, you have to, study, texts like this with the help of a Acharya or a Guru. If we study on our own, we will say, what is this Vishnu Sahasranamam? All contradict. 1 minute it is saying Gunabhrid, having all gunas, and then another say Nirguna doesn't have any guna. Even though Gunabhrid also needs to be understood as Nirguna only, but Nirguna, the one who is free from all qualities, all gunas, is Bhagavan. Vastutah guna abhavat nirguna. So, as we saw the pot example, from the standpoint of the pot, we say that the clay has the quality of partners. Similarly, from the standpoint of the creation, we say that Bhagavan is Gunabhrid, having the quality of the gunas, for which is the adhishthanam. But from the standpoint of the clay, Clay has neither potness, nor cupness, nor plateness, nor any other attribute. So too, from his own standpoint, Bhagavan is just limitless consciousness, essentially free from all gunas. So Bhagavan is essentially nirguna, but through Maya Shakti, he has all the attributes of all the names and forms which constitute this Jagat, in which our own body, mind, sense complex is also included. So he is Nirguna. Then Mahan. Mahan means the one who is great. Shabdadi gunarahitatvat niratishaya sukshmatvat nitya shuddha sarvagatatvadina cha pratibandhaka dharmajatam tarkatopi yatah bhaktum na shakyam atayeva mahan. Adi Shankara supplies whatever is missing in Vishnu Sahasranamam. He is Mahan. Mahan because you just cannot describe what is Mahan. There are no words which you can describe. Just say great. Great means what? How great? What do you mean by great? If anybody asks us to define what is great, we will struggle. We will immediately look for comparison. Because great as such, we can only relate to great as great, greater, greatest. Comparative, superlative only we can relate. But the great word, great, like the word big. What is big? Can you explain what is big? We cannot explain what is big. We can only say, if you say something is big, that is big compared to something else which is smaller than that. Then we can define this is big. But then there could be something bigger than that, what we define as big. So it will go on like this. Is Earth big? We'll say, yes, Earth is very big. Good. Is Jupiter big? Yes, Jupiter is also big. Now tell me, which is big? Earth is big or Jupiter is big? We will be caught. What is our definition of big? We have never ever defined the big. What is big? Similarly, the word Mahan. Who is Mahan? What is Mahan? We have no definition. So what Adi Shankara says, whatever you can't define, that is Mahan. Shabdadi guna rahitatvat, that which does not fall into the limitation of words. Niratisaya sukshmatvat, sukshmam means subtle, which cannot, I mean, it is something subtlest than the subtlest. You cannot find out what is that. Nitya shuddha sarva gatatvadina. It is eternal, nityam, anadi anantam, shuddha, pure, sarvagata, all pervading. The pratibandhaka dharma jatam tarkopi, it has no dharma jatam. They're all obstacle. I mean, they're all limited, is limitless by all these dharmas, birth, tarka, logic. You cannot, vaktum na shakyam, it cannot be described in any of these words. In short, he cannot be objectified. He is limitless, free from all limitations of time and so on, and hence not the object of words. That's why it says, even for the sake of argument, he cannot be limited in any way because he is free from shabda, sparsha, etc. All words, all this sense faculties. Then subtlest of the subtle, ever pure and all pervasive. An entity which cannot be objectified, which does not fall into any of these definitions, only that entity we can say is Mahan. Any other which even one definition falls under cannot be Mahan. That is why Bhagavan is Mahan. Then Adridaha, Adritaha, the one who is not supported by anyone. Prithvyadinam Dharakanamapi Dharakatvat Na Kenachid Driyate iti Adritaha. Okay, I think there is a small issue. If this logs out, will you please log in again? Because there has been some technical issue. I forgot to do some correction. So in 10 minutes, this will log out. If it logs out, you log in again immediately. Then we'll continue the class. The recording also will stop, so I will re-record and then join the two recordings. Okay. So as we just now saw, he is Mahan, supports everything. The earth supports all beings on earth, isn't it? That is why it is called Dharti. That is Dharani also it is called, earth is called Dharani, the one which supports everything, holds everything. And the earth and the other planets are all supported in their orbit by various natural forces. And all these forces, and therefore everything is supported by him. But he is Adrida, not supported by anything else. Because the Ishvara's order supports everything in this whole world, but Ishvara himself is Adridaha, not supported by anything. He exists independent of anything. What does that mean? It means Swadridaha, self-supporting, self-sustaining. Yadyevam ayam kena dharyate iti ashankya aha Svenaiva Atmana Dharyate iti Swadridaha. So the question is that if he is not supported by anything else, how does he get support? There must be some sort of support. Because we don't know anything, we have never experienced anything which is not supported by something. So if such a doubt arises, what is Bhagavan supported by? It is said, he is Swadridaha. We are not saying he is not supported by anything. We say he is self-existent, self-sustaining, self-supporting. That means what? Not supported by anything else. In Chandogya Upanishad, when Sanat Kumara talks about the truth as Bhuman, there Brahman or the truth, the reality is referred to as Bhuman. Narada asks him, Sa Bhagavaha Kasmin Pratishtitaha, that Bhuman or Brahman, Kasmin, where is it established or supported? Sanat Kumara replies, Swe Mahimni, he is established, supported by his own glory, Swe Mahimni. So this Swadridaha, this Nama, directly reference is there in Kathopanishad, in Chandogya Upanishad. So he is Swadridaha, self-sustaining. Then Swa Asyaha. Asyaha means face. Su Asyaha means beautiful face, the one who has a beautiful face. You just see, if a person studies Vishnu Sahasranamam, this Nama's meanings, without any guidance, he will say, just now you said that he is Nirguna, he does not have any form, any shape. Now you say as one who is a beautiful shape. That is why Acharyas keep saying, you have to understand Bhagavan as not having any form. The other way of understanding is every form is his form. That's why Puja Swamiji says, it is wrong to say there is only one Ishvara, there is only one God. That is not a correct statement. That's an incomplete statement. The correct statement is there is only God, only Ishvara. There is nothing else in this entire universe, in this entire prapancha. Because everything that you see, you experience, you sense is Ishvara, or Ishvara manifesting in some form or the other, whether it is Chara, Achara, moving or immovable. Everything is Ishvara's form only. So from that aspect, we say Swasya, the one who has a beautiful face. Vedatmakaha mahan shabdharashihi tasya mukhat nirgataha purushartaha upadeshartam iti va swasya. So the word asya, as I said, can be face or even a mouth.
You have to unmute, Guruji.
Am I audible now?
Yes, yes.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So here Adi Shankara says he has a beautiful mouth because the entire Vedas have come from his mouth. So he is not even going towards form and all that. Because the Vedas are made up of words which give the means for attaining all the Purusharthas. All Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, Purusharthas we can attain only by following the injunctions of the Vedas, the guidance given by the Vedas. And that guidance has been given by Bhagavan. And since normally anything is given out from mouth, words come out of mouth, he is Swasya. Swasya, he is got a beautiful face or a beautiful mouth. Because the Vedas are beautiful. That is Swasya. Then Pragvamsha. Vamsha refers to a race, race like, we have got Aryan race, Dravida. So Pragvamsha means the one whose race started before this Jagat. Anyasya vamshinaha vamshaha paschatyaha asya vamshaha prapanchaha prageva na paschatya iti pragvamshaha. Prageva na paschatya. So the vamsha or the race of others came into being after the world was created. When the human beings came into being on this earth, the rishis were already there. And hence all races or all vamshas, the word race is a very racial word. In our scriptures, we don't use the word race at all. The word vamsha is what we use. Lineage, descendants, vamsha, family, a group. So the first to be created in the beginning of the creation itself is the rishis. And all the vamshas starts from them. Then from that came the vamshas like Surya Vamsha, Chandra Vamsha, Raghu Vamsha, Yadu Vamsha, etc. These are all the tributaries or the branches of these various, lineages. That's all very well so far as human being is concerned. The question is, what is the race of Bhagavan? Bhagavan belongs to which race? So, if at all we want to attribute any race to Bhagavan, very poetically it is said here that Bhagavan's race is, Bhagavan's Vamsha is Prag. Before every other Vamsha, right from the beginning, when the entire Prapancha started. Therefore, he is called Prag Vamsha.
So I'll just repeat it. So, Prag Vamsha hai, Ishvara Vamsha, if at all we want to know, we can only say that his Vamsha existed even before all Vamshas appeared on this earth, before Rishis who preceded the human beings, they appeared on this earth. So he is Prag Vamsha hai. Then he is Vamsha Vardhana hai, the one who expands the Vamshas. Vamsham Prapancham Vardayan Chedayan Va Vamsha Vardhana hai. Again, both. He is the one who expands the Vamshas, and he also is the one who actually withdraws the Jagat, all the Vamshas in the Jagat. So the dhatu, vrid dhatu, yeah, both meanings are there. You know, vridhi, growth is there, and also the meaning of the one who withdraws. So he is the cause of the entire Jagat. Hence he is called Vamsha Vardhana. He is the one who expands the Jagat and the one who also withdraws the Jagat. Chedayan. It is because of him that the vriddhi, the growth of the Jagat, which is in his Vamsha, takes place. So if at all we want to know what is our Vamsha, if we start normally our Vamsha or our Kula from the Rishis, you know, like Bharadwaja Rishi, then Atri Rishi, Kaushika Rishi and all. If we want to know, really speaking, we are all Ishwara's Vamshas only from that point of view, where Ishwara is the one who existed before. We have all born from Ishwara only. So that is Vamsha Vardhana. Then we go to the next sloka. Bhara Bhrit Katitho Yogi Yogisha Sarva Kamadaha Ashramasramana Kshamaha Suparno Vayuvahanaha. So again, this sloka has got 10 mantras. Bhara Bhrit Katitaha Yogi Yogishaha Sarva Kamadaha Asramaha Sramanaha Kshamaha Suparnaha Vayuvahanaha. Bharabhrit. Bharam means weight. Bharabhrit, the one who carries the weight of this Jagat. Bhuvaha Bharam Bhibarti iti Bharabhrit. Bhagavan is Bharabhrit because all the Bhara, the different kinds of loads of everyone, and most importantly, the emotional load that every one of us carry with us. All these loads are carried by Bhagavan alone. People worry about the world being overpopulated, or we find them, always fight over some issue or the other. All these fights, everything that we find incomplete or empty in this world is nothing but a reflection of our own inner emptiness. We try to carry the weight of the world and all its worries, but we cannot do that. It's too heavy for us. If at all we can do something, it is to be responsible enough not to contribute in any way to the load. And how can we do that? By surrendering to the Bhagavan, where he will carry the load for us. People say that you go to Bhagavan and unload all your burdens at his feet. Actually, that is not required at all, because he's already carrying the load which you are carrying in your mind. The only thing that we can unload is to unload the idea that I am carrying the load. that I am the doer, I am the karta, I am the bhokta. This load which we are carrying in our mind, if we unload before Bhagavan, that is the biggest unloading we can do in our life, which means what? We unload our ego before Bhagavan's feet, surrender to Bhagavan. Because Bhagavan even otherwise is carrying everybody's load. So by our unloading, we are not increasing Bhagavan's weight, but we are only reducing our weight. So he is Bharabhrit. Katitaha. The one who is praised. Katitaha. Adi Shankara gives a very, in fact, quotes from Upanishads and Bhagavad Gita and all for, interpreting this nama Katita. Vedadibihi ayam ekayeva paratvena katita iti katitaha. Sarvaihi vedaihi katita iti va katitaha. All Vedas talk about Bhagavan only. All Vedas sing about his glory only. All scriptures, every Sahasranama, whether it's Vishnu Sahasranama, Lalita Sahasranama, Shiva Sahasranama, everything, any scriptural text you take up, Puranas, Itihasas, all talk about only one subject matter, the glory of Bhagavan, the praise of Bhagavan. Kathopanishad says, Sarve Vedaha Yat Padam Amananti. Same idea, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan says in the 15th chapter, Vedaishcha Sarvaihi Ahameva Vedyaha. Then Adi Shankara quotes from Mahabharata Mahatmyam, Vede Ramayane Punye Bharate Bharatarshabha Adau Madhye Tatacha Ante Vishnuhu Sarvatra Giyate. Again, there is a mantra in Kathopanishad. Sodvanaha Paramapnoti Tad Vishnoho Paramam Padam. Iti Shruti Smrityadi Vachanebhyaha. Kim Tadadvanaha Vishnoho Vyapanashilasya Paramam Padam Sa Tattva Mityakankszayam Indriyadibhyah Sarvebhyah Paratvena Pratipadhyate Indriyebhyah Parahyartaha Ityarabhya Purushanna Param Kinchit Sa Kashta Sa Paragatihi Ityantena Sah Yah Katitaha Sa Katitaha. A very masterly way he is actually dealt with this Nama Katita. Bhagavan is Katitaha, declared as the most exalted by all the Vedas. He is not only is Katita well talked about in the Vedas, but he is talked about in every Shastra, every Vidya, every science. He is the one who is most popular. Because even when the newspapers and media talk of him, or in fact I put it, they talk of murder, terrorism and so on, he is there also in and through all the events in the form of the order of dharma, in the form of the psychological order, in the form of the inner pressure, which prompts one to commit murder and so on. All crimes, they fall into the psychological order because all criminals, they take to crime because of some psychological problem. It is not that everybody takes to crime. Lot of people face lot of difficulties in their life. Only few of them are affected psychologically by the difficulties and they take to crime. And what is psychological order? Psychological order is a part and parcel of the law and order of Bhagavan, which sustains dharma, this entire world. Therefore, whatever is told about anyone, anywhere, it is Bhagavan's story, it is glory that is talked about. Therefore, he is Katitaha. The next Nama is Yogi. I think this is almost time now. Or otherwise, I will take Yogi and then stop because we make a couple of minutes. Okay. Yogi. Two meanings is given. The one who is reached by yoga and the one who has given yoga. Yoga hai jnanam tenaiva gamyatvat yogi. Yoga hai samadhihi sahi swatmani sarvada samadhatte swatmanam tena va yogi. So here the word yoga is used in two meanings. One is jnana yoga, jnana, knowledge. So Bhagavan can be reached or understood or discovered only through the yoga of jnana. Hence he is called a yogi. Jnana yoga, actually we have seen, is a life of sannyasa, wherein one pursues knowledge to the exclusion of everything else. Karma yoga is a yoga of engaging oneself in activity and doing one's duty with the right attitude, and at the same time one can also pursue knowledge. The people who pursue both these paths, pursue knowledge or pursue knowledge alone, their lifestyle is also called yoga. The one who has certain duties to do, while in karma yoga, one has got certain duties, while in jnana yoga, all duties are absolved. So from this perspective, when we talk of jnana yoga, Bhagavan is achieved only by knowledge. And what is it that he is gained only by knowledge? Because Bhagavan is a matter of knowing. He is you. Once you know yourself as Bhagavan, that is the knowledge. Well, there is no other way. You can't objectify Bhagavan. Bhagavan is the very subject. You just have to understand, I am the Aham Brahmasmi. There is no other way other than knowing. So whether we talk about karma yoga, which is a precursor to jnana yoga, all yoga is to be able to see, understand one's own true nature. And as Bhagavan, he has no self-ignorance. He is always aware of his true nature. He is a yogi, absorbed in himself. That is the way we have to understand this Nama Yogi. So we'll stop here and continue in the next class. Okay. Om Purnamadav Purnamidham Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnatya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you all very much. I'm sorry for the disturbance. All technology, we are all technologically challenged people.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you so much, Guruji.
Thank
Hari
you,
Om.
Guruji. Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you, Guruji. Hari Om. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Thank you, Guruji. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hari Om.
Thank you.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Hari Om.
But you could manage everything, so there's no issue.
Well, yes, I mean, some time is lost.
You-
See, what is happening is,
you
I
have
have started Sanskrit class from
Yeah,
Vijayadashmi day. So the teacher for Sanskrit is one of my Sanskrit students. So, for her to operate this, this license, which I have got, every week I transfer the license to her so that Tuesday and Friday she conducts the class with the license as a host. Then I am supposed to transfer it back in my name for conducting Saturday, Sunday classes, which I forgot to do yesterday. So that is what happened. I realized it only when it said that you have got only 10 minutes to go. Then I realized, oh my God, I am now using it as a basic user, which the Zoom gives only 40 minutes, not unlimited time. So then I had to go, when it got cut off, I had to reinstate myself as the licensed user and then log out and then actually restart my computer and then log in again. So this much time it took. Anyway, it doesn't matter. These are all part of the game. We have been able to conduct the class, that I am happy with. Yes, Sulekha ji, you have a question?
Yes, thank you, Guruji. Hari Om. I'm asking about karma yoga and jnana yoga. And I know that over the past few classes, there's been quite a bit of discussion, especially in terms of one or the other. Can we consider that both are the flips of the same coin, especially for the body-mind complex, that without karma yoga, this body and our existence in this world has to happen. And with jnana yoga, we can use that knowledge or develop the knowledge so that we can understand the dharmic, the right way of being and doing. Is this a correct understanding?
We are seeing this in detail in Bhagavad Gita class, but I will just answer your question very briefly. See, we have to first of all understand difference between karma and karma yoga. Karma is any action that we perform, is karma. How karma becomes karma yoga is that when we perform all our actions with a certain attitude. Now, what is that attitude? That attitude is all my actions which I am performing, I am actually offering it to Bhagavan. And whatever result that I get from that action, I will accept it as prasada given by Bhagavan. So this is the attitude, this is the bhavana with which if we do all our actions, that karma becomes karma yoga. And that is the first step. So when we actually say I am a karma yogi, that means that I am performing all my actions with the complete understanding that I am actually doing this and offering it to Bhagavan. Like when I go to the temple, I offer flower, I offer, all other fruits, etc. to Bhagavan. I am also offering this to Bhagavan. All my actions, everything that I do. Right from the time I wake up in the morning till I go to sleep, whatever actions, when I am eating, my attitude is, I am offering this food to Bhagavan who is residing in me. I don't eat for the sake of my body, mind, sense complex. But when I offer the food that I eat to Bhagavan, automatically Bhagavan will take care of this body, mind, sense complex by distributing the nutrients which are there in the food which is required for my body, mind, sense complex. This is the attitude we need to develop over a period of time. That is why every religion teaches you to pray before you eat. Unfortunately, most of the other religions, I find people do pray. Only in our Hindu religion, the moment they see food on their plate, they start eating. No thought of Bhagavan, nothing. That's a very unfortunate situation. So that is the attitude, eating. That's why what we should eat also becomes then immediately a naivedyam being offered to Bhagavan. So we must not eat anything which otherwise we will not offer it to Bhagavan in a temple or in a puja or anything. That makes it that a pure thing that you are eating. No stale food you should eat because you will not offer stale food to Bhagavan. So this is the karma yoga aspect of it. What does this karma yoga do? It purifies your mind. The more and more karma yoga you do, the more and more the mind becomes purified. And such a purified mind is the mind required for jnana yoga to take place, for understanding the content of the message of the Upanishads. Otherwise, if you don't have a pure mind, whatever Upanishad, Bhagavad Gita, everything you study, nothing will enter here. You will be only cynical about all these things. You will not go away with an understanding what is being said. So instead of saying that it is two sides of the same coin, I would put it, Karma Yoga is an essential qualification which gives you adhikaritvam. That is just like you have to get a bachelor's degree in a particular discipline for you to actually pursue a master's degree or a doctoral degree in that particular discipline. You cannot be a bachelor's degree in economics and you want to do a doctorate in quantum physics, isn't it? There is no connection, right? So if you want to do doctorate in quantum physics or even a master's degree in physics, at the bachelor's level, at least you should have had physics as a major subject for you to study to understand the physical laws. So that is how I will relate. Karma Yoga, you can call it a bachelor's degree level, which is required essentially for preparing your mind for you to graduate to the level of either master's or a doctorate, where you will be entering the Jnana Yoga and understanding. And once you have entered Jnana Yoga, and then, Shravanam, Mananam, we'll see all that briefly. It comes in the next sloka or the following that. We go through all these sadhanas of Jnana Yoga, then Karma Yoga will be there, automatically carried with you. You will not be practicing Karma Yoga as a sadhana, because it has already paid off. It has brought you to Jnana Yoga. It has made you do Shravanam. You have understood what is there in the Upanishad. Then you will be pursuing that. But that does not mean that you are replacing Karma Yoga with Jnana Yoga. Karma Yoga will continue on its own and side by side. What you have gained through Karma Yoga will not be lost, but it will be only get more and more embellished with Jnana Yoga. And that is the only route for moksha. Ultimate end of Jnana Yoga is nothing but moksha, freedom, liberation from samsara. So that is how we should not look at the two sides of the same coin. Because two sides of the same coin means when you toss a coin, it could be this side or this side, isn't it? It is more of a sequence rather, one after the other. Got it?
Thank you, Guruji. Yes, that's actually very, very clear, and I appreciate that. I think I had a misunderstanding, and that doubt was cleared. Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Yes, Lataji. What's your question?
Pranam Guruji.
Pranam.
Thank you for the beautiful session. I'm just a little intrigued by what was said earlier, that before the humans, the rishis were there. Of course, the Paramatma has been there even before the rishis, and then before the humans, the rishis were there. So, and we all belong to, of course, one lineage or the other. But then this fact that rishis were there before humans, so the rishis are not human then, or they are very superior category of humans. How is it? It's not more of an academic question.
In their form, rishis are humans. But in their intellectual capacity, they are far, 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 far greater than humans.
Yeah,
they are rishis, right? There are manushyas. So, in fact, Bhagavad Gita, we are not learning Bhagavad Gita with Shankara Bhashya. Okay, here and there I take the support of Shankara's commentary while explaining the sloka. But we are not studying with the Bhashyam word by word, like what we are doing here in Vishnu Sahasranamam. I am reading what Adi Shankara said in his commentary, and then I am explaining it on that basis. Bhagavad Gita classes, we are only doing Moolam, but we are taking the help of Shankara Bhashyam to understand certain ideas being conveyed. Now, the Shankara Bhashyam for Bhagavad Gita, Adi Shankara has written a Upodghata Bhashyam, which is called an introductory Bhashyam to Bhagavad Gita. There, he actually explains this entire process of creation, how this happened, and in what way. So that's why we don't subscribe to the theory of Darwin's evolution theory and all that. We don't subscribe to that at all. First of all, we have to understand that when we talk of creation, there is no beginning. When we say there is no beginning, we can say there is always a beginning. How? Because every kalpa, after every pralayam, every unmanifest state, when the entire creation goes into an unmanifest state, after a period of time, the manifestation again starts taking place. That particular event, we can call it a beginning. But from the entire cycle of this universe, there is no beginning. Nobody knows the beginning from where it began. The only thing we know is that before everything began, there was Bhagavan, there was Brahman. Consciousness alone was there before everything began. And it is from that consciousness everything came. That much we know. So what I am trying to tell you is Adi Shankara, gives how this whole thing began. And he says, first there were 4 rishis created. Then the rishis were given Vedas. They were taught the Vedas. There were rishis who were taught the Vedas Purva Bhaga. And there were rishis who were taught the Vedas Anta Bhaga, Upanishads. And those rishis then started spreading the Vedic message in this world. The rishis who learned the Purva Bhaga, they got, spread the Purva Bhaga, which consists of Dharma, Artha, and Artha, Kama, and Dharma Purusharthas. That is where the Purva Bhaga. Then the Moksha Purusharthas, the rishis, they separately, they were propagating the Moksha Purushartha, the message of the Upanishads. All these things, in Bhagavad Gita, Upodghata Bhashyam, Adi Shankara gives a very beautiful explanation. In fact, if I get a chance, maybe I will use some time in one of these talks, maybe next week or following week. In fact, since I'm traveling, I need to do some research in terms of Upodghata Bhashyam and then make my notes. So I will actually introduce all of you to that creation, how our Shastra, our scriptures treat what is creation. So that all this confusion which has been created in our mind by Darwin and things like that and all, we totally reject that. For us, we are not born from monkeys and things like that and all. We are descendants of great intellectual prowess, people with great intellectual prowess who have actually propagated, who understood the Vedas first. And then they have propagated the Vedas. When nobody knows. It has been happening from beginningless times. And every kalpa, this repeats itself. Every Chatur Yuga, when the finishes, then the kalpa finishes. When the new kalpa starts, the whole thing repeats itself. So for us, the entire creation is cyclical and it is not what we call linear. So that is our theory of creation. And that is why here also we talk about rishis being created first, from our Vamshas, what we call, I belong to Bharadwaja Gotra or this Kashyapa Gotra or some other Gotra and all. We are all descendants of those rishis who appeared in the first. Their children also were rishis only. We don't get into whether man was born, woman was born and all. We don't get into all those arguments. All we know is that human beings evolved from the rishis and we are all descendants of those rishis. That's all we know.
Thank you.
So let me get an opportunity. I will probably talk about this in some context in one of these classes. Because Bhagavad Gita, I will still get a lot of chances to talk about it. But in Vishnu Sahasranamam, I will need to fit it in some place. But I can certainly, it's not a very big topic. 5, 10, 15 minutes, I can certainly tell you what Adi Shankara has to say about the entire process of creation.
Yeah, that will be great, Guruji. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Any more questions? Or shall we close today? We'll close today. Okay. Hari Om. See you next Sunday.
Hari Om. Thank you, Guruji.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.